In this lesson, we'll learn how to create, open, and save files here inside of Photoshop. All right, before we get started, I'd just like to let you know that Digital Tutors would like to say thank you to iStock Photo and the artist Cinobi, Jerry Schiller, In-House Creative, Titles Picks, Conrad Liu, Pleasure of Art, Alvarez, and Garin Me for their images that were used in this series of lessons. You can access these same images and thousands of others by accessing your exclusive Digital Tutors iStock discount at the following site. All right, fantastic. So if this is your first time to open Photoshop, then welcome. You're probably looking at a screen very similar to the one I'm looking at here. So the first thing I want to teach you in this lesson is how we can begin to open our files here inside of Photoshop. There's a few different ways, and we're going to run through those really quickly here. So jump up here to the File menu with me, and you'll notice there's a lot of options here. To the right of these options, we actually have keyboard shortcuts that are associated to some of them. So we want to go for this Open option, and I want to point out to you that the keyboard shortcut for that is Control-O. So let's go ahead and select that here. Now this window that opens up is where you're going to browse to your files, and I've actually browsed to the referenced files folder inside your project files for this course. So if you've downloaded those, go ahead and browse to that particular directory, and let's select this Turtle01 file. So I'll select that and just simply hit open. And you can see that we have opened our first document here inside of Photoshop CC. Now, this is not the only way that we can open files. I just happen to be on a PC right now, so let's go ahead and drag over this Explorer window. Now, let's say we wanted to open this Turtle02 file in addition to Turtle01. Now, all we need to do is simply click and drag, and you'll see that we get that gray outline around kind of our document that we have open. Now, we don't want to drop this right in here, because what that'll do is it'll drop Turtle02 inside of Turtle01. Instead, let's go ahead and drag it up here to this dark gray bar right along here, just to the right of the tab that says Turtle01. So when we do that, and I drop it right there, you'll notice that we get a second tab open that says Turtle02. So these tabs are called document tabs, and these represent each of the open documents you currently have open. So in this case, we have both of these two files open. There's a little X on the right-hand side of the tab that we could actually close out of the file with. There's also some other information here. We have the magnification level there, 25%. That's the magnification that we're currently viewing the image. Now we also have the color mode. In this case, these are RGB images, red, green, and blue. So you can see that is indicated there as well. And we also have the bit depth. These are both 8-bit images. So we've learned how to use the File Open directory, or File Open dialog to open an image. We've also learned how to drag them in. But there's one other way I want to show you really quickly here. Now, for this, we're going to need to jump under the Window drop-down, and right here under Extensions, and let's open up MiniBridge. Now, MiniBridge is actually a file browsing application that is included with the Adobe package of applications, or Adobe suite of applications, and it is actually integrated here inside of Photoshop. So let's go ahead and browse over here, and I'm going to simply select maybe this underwater image. Now we could double click on that right here for MiniBridge, or we could simply click and drag it up, and again drag it into that bar. And there we go. We can open our third image here. Now let's just double click on the words MiniBridge there, and that's going to collapse that. So now we've got all three of these open. We can actually click and we can drag these around just like so. We can rearrange them if we wanted to do that, or we can go ahead and close them out. Let's go ahead and close out of two of them here. We'll leave Turtle01 open. All right, great. Now, the next thing I want to teach you about Photoshop is how we can save our files. So we've got Turtle01 open, and we can see that it's a JPEG file. Let's say that we wanted a different version of this file. Maybe we needed a GIF file, or even a TIFF. So let's just come up here to the File menu again, and in this case I'm going to choose Save As. Now this is a previously saved file, and I haven't made any changes to it, so we can't choose the Save option. If we choose Save As, though, you can see it's going to open this dialog up, And I'm going to just scroll down here, and let's just change the name of this to something like turtle01_copy. Otherwise, we'll overwrite our existing file if we save another JPEG. So now, in terms of changing the type of file we're saving here, it's really easy. All we need to do is look right here under Save As Type, and you can see it's set as JPEG. So we could drop this list down. You can see there's quite a few different ones here. Let me just drag this up for you. You can see there's a lot of different options we can choose, anywhere from TIFF to JPEGs to bitmaps, whatever the case may be. Let's go ahead and choose this very top option, this Photoshop.psd. So this is the default file type for Photoshop. This is the native Photoshop file. So we'll go ahead and save it as this file here. You can see above it's showing me all of the PSD files that are saved in that folder right now. So down here you can see there's an option check for this ICC profile. Don't worry about that. That just has to do with the sort of the color profile that's either included with the file or not included. So we'll just go ahead and hit save here. And you can see here we have saved our file out of Photoshop. Now, notice here in the Document tab, I'm no longer working with the JPEG copy of this. I'm working with the PSD version of our Turtle01. So that is how you would save a file here inside of Photoshop. Now, we've learned how to open, we've learned how to save our files, but we haven't learned how to create a file. So a lot of what you're going to be doing here inside of Photoshop does involve working with already created assets, whether it's a photo off a digital camera, maybe it's a digital painting you've received from another artist, whatever the case may be. But if you want to create a new file so you can start your own Photoshop project, you want to come up here to the File menu and choose New. Now, again, keyboard shortcut here, Control-N for this. So it's going to bring you to this particular dialog here. Now, inside this dialog, let me just go ahead and switch this over to what you're probably seeing, which says Default Photoshop Size. Now, the default Photoshop size here is 7 inches by 5 inches. You can see that we're working with a pixel resolution of 72. And you can see we're also working with an RGB color file in terms of our color mode, 8 bits, and our background color or contents is set to white. Now, if you're wanting to create maybe a file for going to a printer, and maybe you're in the United States, you might want to base your document size off of a US print paper size. So to do that, you can come over here and use a preset. So we'll choose US paper right here. And you'll notice that this little option right here becomes available to us, this size drop down. So I could come in here and I could say, oh, I need legal size paper. So we're going to select legal, or whatever the case may be. Now you can see again there are a number of different kinds of presets here. We could choose international paper. We have a lot of the international paper sizes here. We can come in and choose photo. And you can see here we have lots of different photo sizes. If our document is going to be for use on the web, you can see here under the web preset we have resolutions. So whatever the case may be, a preset might be the best option for you in terms of creating a new document. If not, you can always come in and manually input these sizes. So I'll switch back to default Photoshop size, and you can see here we can come in and maybe I want to create a 6-inch by 6-inch document. I can just manually type in these figures. Or if I needed pixels, we could just come over here and switch to pixels. And you can see here how that gets converted there. So maybe we want a 1024 by 1024. There we go. You can see here I've created a document that is 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels. Now, this resolution option down here below, this is kind of a complex option, and it's going to become increasingly important if you're maybe creating documents for use on the web, or if you're sending documents to a commercial printer, because this controls kind of the pixel density of your file. So how many pixels are in a square inch? With a resolution of 72, a square inch has 72 pixels by 72 pixels. So doing the math there, you would be able to calculate the total amount of pixels in that inch. Now we can control how Photoshop distributes those pixels. So if we wanted to say include 200 pixels on each measurement, we could just simply type in 200 here. And in a square inch, you would have 200 pixels by 200 pixels. Doing the math there. So we can actually control the density of pixels in our document here inside of Photoshop, and that's how you do it. So let's go ahead and just change that back to 72 for right now. We're not going to talk about these options down here under advanced. These are just like it says here, they're advanced options, and if you don't have a reason to change these, just leave them the way they are. So we'll go ahead and collapse that for right now, and let's go ahead and hit OK here. And you can see that Photoshop has created our new document. Now, we didn't give our document a name. There was an option under that new dialog for a name. We didn't actually fill that in. So we could actually come in and save this file and give it a name at that point. But remember, whenever you create a new file like this to work in, you always want to make sure and save that file. All right, great. So in this lesson, we've learned how to create, how to open, and how to save files out of Photoshop. Now that we're familiar with these three things, we can move on to the next lesson. And in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to kind of navigate around Photoshop's interface, as well as share with you some tips on customizing that interface.